I've built a lot of things in my life, and there are a few that I am as proud of as this little camper. So I've got to do some work to this camper to kind of get it ready for a few trips that I'm going to go on, and I thought we could do a quick walk around and show you guys what I got going on with this camper. I did a video like this before. I've done a few things to it. It was a long time ago. So maybe let's start at the front over here, and I'll just take you guys around it. I started off with basic welding materials, I guess. It's 2x2 square tube, and I welded a frame for this trailer. Once we had the platform together, we started to build the camper itself. I used this same, I'm gonna get this wrong, but it's let's just call it plastic, on the underside of the camper as well. I put that on top of the steel frame and some plywood, so from the underneath, this thing is totally sealed off. Water, salt, anything like that won't rot out any of the wood. And then I put some plywood on top of it for rigidity. We went ahead and framed the sides of the camper on top of that. They are also plywood, and I've got some joists, I'll call them, running this way on the roof, and that's insulated as well. That gets us to what you can see there. Starting in the front, we've got just a regular 2-inch trailer coupler on here. I used to have an articulating max coupler. They have 360-degree rotation. What I found is nothing else I have has that on it. So if you want to like hook it up like it is right now and move it around, it's kind of a big pain in the butt to always switch the hitch. Anyways, we've got just a regular trailer leg on here, safety chains, light harness. This is something to show you guys here. So I built this camper myself, but I called state of Illinois, that's where we're at, and I said I want to get a license plate for this. They sent out a special investigator Fox for the state of Illinois Secretary of State Police. He did an inspection on it. It's got to have lights and you know, good tires, things like that. It was pretty easy, and then they stamped it with a VIN number. That was it. It was pretty simple. I put this aluminum weather guard toolbox on here. How far this will come up with the ladder on there. I mostly keep firewood in here, and it also houses the junction box for the lights, so this stays permanently mounted. I put this ladder on here. I had a rooftop tent on it for a while, may go back on there, but the ladder gives me access to the roof. I don't always take it with me. With the rooftop tent, it doesn't stick up as far as it does. Jury's out whether that goes back on or not. This wood here was actually from a remodeling project my brother did. It's some wormy cypress. I've got a Total Boat epoxy coating on it. It's one of the improvements I'm going to be making, or maintenance items, is to recoat this, but it's done great. You know, it takes a lot of weather beating here as you drive. It's in pretty decent shape. I also keep this inside, so if it's going to live outside, I might do something different on it. And we've got a thermal plastic TPO roof on here, and we use some Eternabond on here to strip it in and hold it down. Moving around, so I bought these doors. I'll try and find links for all this stuff. It's been a long time, and I have a hard time remembering where it all came from, but these are just a prefab RV door. They have these little slide up windows with latches. Very cool. I'll put one on each side. You wouldn't need them. It's just enough space to get in and out. You just cut a hole, put it on. It's got an interior trim, pinches the side of the trailer together and finishes it off. There's not much here. Down the road, I got some other builds planned where I may try and make the door. These are expensive, and I've got one on each side and one in the back we'll get to in a minute. But I'm really happy with these. They're awfully dirty right now. They need to be cleaned. Put a roof rack on here. This is a very inexpensive rack off Amazon, and I bent these brackets. They're supposed to just come down and get screwed on the side. I wanted this little bit of a shelf for it to sit on so that your weight is on the sidewall, not on the screws and not just on the top of the camper. That way this thing's got as much weight as you could throw at it. It will hold the rooftop tent or any of your luggage. Sometimes I just strap a ground tent to it. Works out pretty well. This camper, when I first built it, I was driving a Jeep JK, and these were the rims and tires that came on the JK. I had upgraded the rims and put 37s on it, but I thought there's got to be some benefit to having the spare for your camper also be a spare for your Jeep. I don't know if it's worth changing it out again now that I don't own the Jeep anymore, but that may be down the road. But this gave me an extra spare both for the vehicle, and you could do it the other way around and put a vehicle spare on the trailer if you needed it. These fenders, I had a guy in town here bend them for me. He just bent them out of this diamond plate material and welded them. They're great. They're real big, so they keep the mud off the camper door and things like that if you're going through the mud, and they're also very sturdy. So this is where if you didn't have the ladder with you, you need needed to get on top. It kind of picks up some of the weight of this tire so it's not all hanging off the side of the camper, but it gives you a place to stand. There's a little step here for getting up on the roof and getting things off. Real happy with these. Moving around to the back. This is more of that wormy cypress on the back. And again, I bought this door. As you see here, it's got keys to latch it. To do over again, and maybe something in the future, I think some longer struts might be good, because man, you take your face out on that corner, it's a bad day. And after my other video, a lot of people that said, you need to put plumbing foam on there so you don't blow your face out in the back of your camper. There you go. The internet asks, shall receive. We've got some backup lights here. These are just some LED cube lights. When I put it in reverse, they light up whatever you're going to. I'd also like to work a backup camera into here. I think that'd be super cool. These are actually motorcycle tail lights. I thought they were kind of cool. I've broken the glass in them twice, so I got like a 6-pack of those. You have to have a light to illuminate the license plate, so I've got that here. And then this is actually a table made by Jet, I think it is. It's like an aluminum prep table that hooks on the back here on these buttons. That's pretty cool. I just throw it in the camper and take it with me. While we're back here, let's take a look at the I don't know, mechanical closet, if you will. So this is just a cubby in the back, and I've got a shelf up here. I keep some blocks in there that I use for my stabilizer jacks. That's how I keep the thing steady. I don't use the stabilizer jacks very much if I'm by myself sleeping in the back, but I've done a couple trips where like I've got maybe my wife and one of my daughters sleeping in the back and one of us in the rooftop tent on top. Thing shakes around a lot. You'd be real glad that you had some stabilizers. This is where I keep most of my gear. I don't have a lot of it in here right now in my overland trailer for cargo trailer, conversion trailer, and I kind of move it as I go and pack for the trip at hand. These are really hard to get off, but these are ports for a heat and air unit that I have installed on here. I've got ports in the side of my truck camper as well. One is a return, one is a supply. I actually have some plans to put a little diesel heater in here and do away. That thing is just massive and really heavy and inconvenient to drag out. I've got a fan in there, so I don't even care that much about the air conditioning at this point, but just climate control in general is nice to have. Lots of options for that. In here is a bit of controversy. Man, this thing really needs to be higher. So I have Renogy flexible solar panel on the roof, and that is coming into here. I've got I don't know what you call it, a current shutoff. I've got an electric shutoff, a little fuse panel, the charge controller, and we're charging a battery. This is also a charger that you could plug into shore power and charge it. And this runs lights, accessories, anything you want to plug in, your climate control, whatever. The problem I had with this, that's going to lead me to a different system and why we have the Jackery in here today. I had this just sitting in my shop. I had it plugged in to trickle charge the battery like a tender. I think it was full on charging the battery both through the AC power as well as the solar panel on the roof. I wound up boiling the battery and having this battery acid fumes coming out into the camper. It'd be a real bad situation if you were sleeping in it. I'm gonna plug this in. You guys can walk around here with me. On this side, I've got a shore power plug. And all this goes to is a power strip on the other side. So I'll probably keep it there. And when I do have the final upgraded power system in there, this will just be to charge that. Or if you've got some 110, like you're gonna run a space heater in there all the time, if the diesel heater is not something I wanna use, you could just plug it directly into this to shore power generator, put your power station outside. But I will not use it to charge the battery because that didn't work out well last time. Jerry can, axe, shovel, right? All the things that overlanders need on the outside of their vehicles. I've got a little ARB awning here that we pull out. It is currently waiting for some new poles because I bent the ones that were on it. So I think that's about it for the exterior. This here, my youngest daughter really did a number on everything I own with Band-Aids. She found a box of Band-Aids in my truck and decided they made great stickers and stuck them on everything. That was like 4 years ago. This one has survived, I don't know, the apocalypse. It's like a cockroach. So I'm gonna leave it on there and see how long it'll stay on the side of the camper. But let me take you guys inside here. Welcome to the inside of my little camper. This thing is the exact size of a full mattress. A little bigger than a twin. Not any bigger than that. You guys can Google what size that is because I know a bunch of you are going to ask what size the camper is. So I made it that way. Now, I spent a week in this thing on our property in Kentucky in the winter when we were building our cabin. Got a little claustrophobic in here for a couple of reasons. One, I was much bigger then than I am now. If you watch the other video, you'll see that. Under here, you got to put your feet back under this storage area. There's not a lot of clearance in here. I've got some plans to cut some of that out, but I'm not sure if I need it. If you guys look underneath this mattress, there's like a 4-inch thick sleeping mat. I think I'm gonna pull that out and buy myself a little more room in there. We're gonna see how well that works. But these are grills for that heat and air unit. We've got lights here. These are just some LED rock lights that I bought on Amazon. Rigged up these weird little plywood things I made for housings because the roof was not thick enough to house it. And we've got some switches here to turn them on and off. A couple outlets here, 2 USB and like a 12-volt cigarette lighter style. This is where you charge your phone or plug in your tablet or what have you. This is a cell phone booster, this Wii Boost. It's laying down right now so it'll fit into my shop. It's got an 8-foot door that sticks up kind of high, but jury's out if that even works very well. A couple hooks to hang up some things at night. And you think like, what do you need to hang your clothes up for in a like 5x6 camper? When it's the middle of winter and you got to get up to take a leak and you can't find your sweatshirt, it comes in handy to have it hanging up right next to you. Up here, this is a topographical blanket that I bought off Amazon. Not that there's a lot of echo in a little camper here, but a little bit of insulation, a little bit of comfort. It looks cool. And I just staple it up there and use this trim around the outside, the light, and the max fan to kind of hold it in place. So this is the max fan. This is a 12-volt fan. Just runs off the battery. Not a lot to it. It's got a high, medium, low fuse in there. Turn it off and crank the cover down. This is another thing. It's kind of hard to open that cover with the rooftop tent on, but you could get it up about halfway. It still works pretty well. Little tray on here. This is where you set some things at night, you know, your bottle of water, whatever, because stuff just kind of gets lost in the mattress, so you roll over on it. I keep a carbon monoxide detector in here. Has yet to go off. The batteries are probably dead, but it makes me feel better. So underneath the camper, this is all the stuff nobody ever sees before. Just saying, I've got this plastic on the underside. It's all coated in. Frame is welded, powder coated. These Timbren axles, I had to shim them, but they were a little crooked. So I actually had this long frame member going through here. It goes all the way from the trailer coupler out the back to this tow hook. And the idea was if you get stuck and somebody has to pull you out, this hook is pulling the vehicle as well instead of trying to rip the camper apart. But then I decided to put this cross tube in for stability to these Timbren axleless, kind of like a vehicle on portals. And I wound up chopping this tube in half. One of the improvements we're gonna make, I'm gonna weld that back together. A couple trailer jacks here for stability. Great if somebody's on top. I just welded some of these big plates into the frame to have something to mount them to. Pretty simple under here, but seems to work well. All of the electric for the trailer is run under the mattress in a conduit instead of under the trailer. So if you're dragging stuff through the mud, you don't rip all your wiring apart or get all muddy and corroded. So far, so good. Well, that's about it for this one, guys. Just like to share my little camper with you. Let me know what you guys are working on. Do you have one that you built? The other video that we had, I got a lot of emails. My email is in the description of this video. All the links are down there as well for the things I used to build this. I love getting questions, and even more, I love getting pictures of people's builds. We like to put them, you know, feature them in the video. So send whatever you got. I love it. Hey, we're trying to get this channel over 1,000 subscribers. So make sure, if you're not already, and if you're still watching this video, like and subscribe. It helps us out, and we'll see you on the next one.